Right now we're going to check the gas pressure on the unit. Make sure that the gas pressure is correct for natural gas. Next thing we'll be checking is amp draws for the inducer motor. Make sure those are within range. Now we're going to check blower motor amps. Make sure that's within range as well. Now we're going to test the pressure switch. After testing the pressure switch, the unit cuts off, which is what we want it to do once we cut pressure off of it. Reset cycle, the igniter comes back on, gas comes on, everything powers back up normally. Now we're going to test the safeties on the unit. I'm going to disconnect the blower motor, which should cause the high limit switch. If it gets too hot, it should cut the unit off. One way to test it is by cutting off the blower motor. It's going to get too hot, it should cut off. That's one way to test it, so we're going to go ahead and do that. So the unit has cut off, reached 2 of a high temperature. That's what those safeties are there for, in case your blower motor ever fails, your system won't continue running and overheating and potentially causing a hazard. So that is operational. Now we're going to turn the system off, remove everything, plug the blower back in, and make sure everything's working fine after we're done testing everything. We also like to check the filters. In this case, there is a media filter, which is a 20 by 25 by 4 filter. We like to check them, make sure that they are still clean, still within specs. If dirty, we replace them if there's one available. If they're clean, we leave them the way they are, and we always make sure to date them as well. Since we checked the high limit, the unit got at a very high temperature, so when we initially started up, it's still making the call for heat, but since it got over the rated temperature, the blower motor will turn on first to cool the system down. Once it's cooled down, it'll retry again and start up. Now that it's cooled down, it's now beginning to start back up. So now we've closed it all up, make sure all the connections were put back after testing everything. We made sure that the heat came back on after plugging everything back in. So now that everything's closed up, we're all finished up.